So this past week, we've had some horrific mass shootings in Texas and Ohio. And guess what? Somebody had to blame video games yet again. I am so sick of this shit. And hearing about it and someone pointing fingers at something that doesn't even make any fucking sense. This dickhead Texas politician, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, appeared on Fox News and said a bunch of horse shit about video games and gun violence. So I quote, "What's changed in this country? We've always had guns. We've always had evil. But what's changed where we see this rash of shootings? And I see a video game industry that teaches young people to kill." Patrick continued with, "This was maybe a video game to this evil demon, a video game to him. He has no sense of humanity, no sense of life. He wanted to be a super soldier for his Call of Duty game." What a dumb fucking idiot. We've always had guns and evil, but video games are the only change in society. He needs to fire whoever wrote this fucking statement and then slam his face through the window. Video games do not make people racist, homophobic, sexist, or any more violent than people already inherently are. And always have been since the dawn of fucking time. Violence has existed before guns, and I'm sorry, but that's the fucking truth. We're animals. If someone is racist and wants to roleplay racism in a game, that's happening in their fucking head and not on the screen. None of these games teach you to be racist, nor can they teach you to shoot a gun. Everyone already knows how a fucking gun works. It's not a hard device to operate. These people walk into a crowded area and just shoot. They're not fucking Navy SEALs rappelling down from the ceiling in Walmart to take out Sally in the chip aisle. If guns teach you how to shoot, then I'm ready to perform brain surgery because I played fucking Surgeon Simulator. I'm ready to fly a fighter jet, be a cowboy, suck Bowser's mushroom dragon dick. Like, it's fucking stupid. Nobody's planning a mass shooting in a fucking commercial video game. If someone were a game designer and created levels to look exactly like an area that they're going to be in to commit this heinous act, that's a different story. But anyone can create these simulations in real life, on paper, or in a fucking AutoCAD drawing. This isn't exclusive to a video game. These mentally deficient people fantasize about this stuff in their waking lives. Get this idea out of your fucking head that game developers are creating these supervillains. Like, people are being persuaded into becoming the Joker or Thanos by playing a video game. There are facts and statistics and arguments already countering all these claims that go back decades. So I don't even know why we even have to defend this shit. So even if you look at this logically, video games simply do not allow these shitbags to hone their craft, nor does it implant ideas into their head any more than movies, books, television, or the fucking news, which reports and gives these fucking dregs of society a pedestal to stand on for their 24 hours of infamy. Stop giving these assholes some measure of glory. I'm Canadian and gun laws are different here, but I grew up around guns. Lots of fucking guns, okay? My dad was a responsible gun enthusiast. There are laws in place to make them responsible. The guns were always locked up and I wasn't even able to access them. I shot guns with him at the range. I learned to respect the gun. I played video games since I was 4 years old, and obviously video games have not turned me into a fucking gunslinger, sniper, or mass murderer. I don't fantasize about killing people. I don't carry a gun around. I don't even have much of an interest in them, even though my dad has passed away and I've inherited literally like 20 fucking guns that I could start a militia with. So when you have these trash figureheads in place saying racist shit and homophobic stuff on TV, or these little micro communities that all talk to each other on the internet, you know hillbilly fucking Jim out there on the old farm is watching his TV, reading between the lines, and hears "kill everyone who isn't white and likes dick." These people, although few, are fucking insane, and we're waiting for any sign, any fucking sign, to pull that trigger on a gun they had easy access to. Now, I'm not solely blaming anyone in particular in my example. It could come from aliens that visited them last night, a fucking cloud that they saw in the shape of a gun up in the sky, a dream where Jesus whispered a manifesto into their ears, whatever the fuck. It's not goddamn video games causing these problems. Maybe look at gun control, a novel fucking idea. Maybe look at socioeconomics and poor education. Maybe nobody takes mental health seriously enough and lets these murders fall off the map to the point of acting out like this. Maybe gun control again for a third time. Maybe every single one of us is to blame for these events because we're all preoccupied with ourselves and can't be bothered to work toward a sensible solution that's literally right in front of our face, like gun control. Just own this issue and change it instead of pointing fingers at the Second Amendment and spinning our wheels in the blood of the fallen. This is ridiculous. I don't have a concise point to all this or an inkling of an idea as to how to fix it, but leaders and influencers on all levels need to stop misdirecting everyone by giving the masses something to loosely fixate their hatred on. Video games are not that thing. People need to realize that there's something systemically wrong with how someone can easily just obtain these firearms, the amount of civil unrest there is in the world, how much fear people have of things that they shouldn't fear, the stress people are always under, the internet and how it changes people's perception of how insignificant we actually all are, and this groundswell of mental issues that everyone nearly suffers from now. It's just ridiculous. So this isn't so cut and dry to say that video games are the problem, and these politicians need to fuck right off.
Yeah, no, I mean, you kind of summed it up for the most part there. I thought, this might turn into a big discussion. Although I have to say, I almost fucking died laughing at the thought of Navy SEALs rappelling down to Walmart and killing Sally in the chip aisle. But yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed it there. I didn't know, I wasn't prepared for such a fucking precise speech. But yeah, I don't have much else to add, really. I mean, yeah, I kind of been upset with this whole thing that's been going on this past week too. I mean, of course, it was going to get political immediately, and I really didn't appreciate, as a Trump supporter, I didn't appreciate Trump coming out and blaming video games either. But yeah, it's just way more complicated of an issue than people make it out to be. So yeah,
it's just ridiculous to assume that a video game is training people to murder people, and it's like, it doesn't even make sense when you say it. Like, to somebody it probably does, but it doesn't to me, especially since I've been playing video games forever. I could shoot a gun. Anybody could shoot a gun. I'm not great at it. It didn't teach me to kill. You just point a gun at someone and kill them. That's it. You can watch a movie and get it.
Yeah, I mean, video games give you the basic idea of what it's like to shoot a gun, but like, it's nothing like actually shooting a gun. So
no,
the guns aren't training you to do anything. I don't know, man. It's a complicated thing that, maybe we'll do a topic about one day. And I don't know. You got anything, Hollow, to add to this?
Definitely a couple of things that Cynthia hit that have bothered me. And I think the biggest one for me is the way that we as a society now deal with mental health care and insurance, big pharma, all that shit's its own thing that falls right into this, in my opinion. But yeah, I have had a Glock sitting on my desk for right next to my console, as a matter of fact, for over 6 years. And guess what? It's never been used. I go to the gun range occasionally. I can shoot. I've done it since I was a little kid. My dad taught me how to respect firearms from the very beginning, me and my brother both. So yeah, that shit it blows my mind how easily people succumb to that rhetoric. Like, yeah, we're just going to immediately jump on this train. And, the ability to obtain firearms, yeah, easy, of course. Background checks, all those things have been done forever. Hasn't been happening. I'm sure there's some things that they could change. There always is in just about anything we do. I think another problem, though, is what you were saying about the grandstanding for these murderers, giving them screen time, talking about them endlessly for days. Why? I mean, this creates the copycat syndrome, Like, we immediately open the gate and you see other people going, well, I was that kid in school that got shoved in a locker, peed on, bucket of dip was, dumped on my head, and I never got a pat on the back. And this guy went and killed these people, and now he's famous. Like, that's the mentality I feel like it feeds into, and it drives me nuts. And so, yeah, media, massive issue. Politics shouldn't be anywhere near it unless they're planning on actually devoting some sort of time, some sort of financial services towards making mental health care more accessible. I feel like it's dude, look, I'll be right out and honest about it. I take anxiety medication and medication for OCD. All right. I've taken them for about 15 years now. I own a firearm. I've never had the urge to haul off and shoot somebody. I've never had a round chambered the whole time I've had it sitting on my desk because why? I don't ever want to have to do something like that. Even if someone broke into my house, the last thing I'd want to do is have to pull the trigger on that person because you have to live with that for the rest of your life. So, making these assumptions that, or even just directly blaming video games, like, I mean, violence is violence. We've been warring since we were put on the earth, however that happened. So it's nothing new. It really isn't. And, like I said, given time to these murderers all throughout the media, Twitter, Facebook, is one of the worst things I feel like we could do. And we do it every single time.
Yeah, and people are getting sort of kind of radicalized and siphoned off into their own little lanes online, and social media creates a lot of problems, and the news and how everyone's hyper political. I mean, there's a lot to this, and it was very tempting to do this as a topic this week, and I was even I was even skeptical about even touching it in the intro here because we could go on about this for fucking ever. But even though it's a vastly important and interesting topic, yeah, what happened this past week, it's crazy, it's tragic, it's something that I wish didn't happen, but it's not going to stop. And video games aren't the culprit, and there's just a lot more to it. But in the interest of moving the episode along here, I'm just going to give the rundown of the show this week, tell you about the topic of the week that we're actually going to do, which is how important is difficulty and challenge in games. After that will be the what the fuck we're playing. We got a lot of games on the list this week after taking a couple weeks off. And with Hollow on the podcast, we've got Wolfenstein Youngblood, Monster Hunter, Hunt Showdown, Wolfenstein Cyberpilot, Drive Club VR, Wipeout VR, DayZ, Hob, Battlefield 5, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and Dark Souls 3. And then after that will be followed up by the questions and answers as always. Now, this podcast is available on all podcasting platforms such as iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Music, and tons more. And lastly, our YouTube channel is fully operational and hosts full episodes, segment clips, and smaller highlights from our shows. Simply search Bastards of Gaming on YouTube and be sure to hit the subscribe button while you're there to stay up to date.